Please note that any opinion expressed on this show is my own opinion and does not reflect the opinion of my employer or any organization that I'm associated with or affiliated with for that matter. It's just crazy to me that you can live life just so aloof, so lost, so disconnected, but connected at the same time. Hey, kings and queens and everything in between. Welcome to this episode of a Sip with Samad podcast. And I'm your host, Samad. Let's jump in. All I hear is raindrops falling on the rooftop. Oh, baby, tell me why you have to go. 'Cause this pain, I feel it won't go away. And today, I'm officially missing you. I thought that from this heartache, I could escape. But I fronted long enough to know there ain't no way. And today, I'm officially missing you. Can't nobody do it like you. Said every little thing you do. Hey, baby, say stays on my mind. And I'm officially, all I do is lay round. 2 years full of tears from looking at your face on the wall. Just so we could go to work, my baby. Now I don't even know you at all. I don't know you at all. And I wish that you would call me right now. Woo. So that I could get through to you somehow. But I guess it's safe to say, baby, safe to say that I officially missing you. Ooh. Hey, y'all, welcome back to a Sip with Samad podcast. And of course, you know who I am. I'm your host, Samad. Once again, who would be sitting here hosting a show named after somebody else? Nobody. So anyhow, thank y'all for coming back. I really appreciate it. And like the song said, I really did miss y'all this week. A lot has happened. It was such a draining week. So draining. But here we are. The heavens, the universe saw fit for us to be together one more time. Well, while we're together, go ahead and make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Follow me, YouTube, Facebook, IG, you name it. Also, shout out to all those folks. I'm going to do it early. Shout out to all the folks who are following on YouTube. Clearly, y'all like the vids. I'm glad you liked it. I've really been working hard on them and trying to make sure I produce something for y'all consistently. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm just happy to be here. So I'm rocking another HBCU, as you all who are watching can see. Those who are listening, today I am rocking the Alabama State University, not to be confused with Alabama A&M. Alabama State University, another HBCU. This is actually a new one. So I realized I was running out of sweatshirts. And we're actually transitioning over now because we're going into spring. So I need to find me something else. I don't like t-shirts. I'm a very plain t-shirt type person. I don't even like t-shirts with logos on it. Just give me a regular shirt and I'll be happy. All that other stuff on it, I don't like it. I don't know, something weird about me. I've always been that way. I can remember getting like Christmas gifts and stuff. And it would be like, especially my mother. Oh my gosh. I remember one time she bought me this, like a FUBU shirt, and it had like a FUBU decal all up on it. And I was like, I'm not wearing this. I can't do this. And, as a kid, you can't really do the number of gifts I've gotten as a kid. And my family would tell me to my face, he ain't gonna wear that. And it was true. I wasn't, but I didn't want to say that to the person giving me the gift. Yeah. Thank you for shouting me out, family. but I'm the same way now. So I don't really like wearing a bunch of logos. I'm not a label whore. I'm not that one. I'm not the chick. I'm not a label whore, label gal. So what am I drinking today? So I'm tired. It was a very, very laborious weekend. Me and Alan, I think we're exhibiting nesting behavior right now because we were just working on house projects all weekend long. And so I'm tired, and y'all gonna get a repeat drink. I can't give you something new and fresh and hot every time. So this week, y'all getting my favorite, the lemon drop. Is probably my drink for the summer. If I have a party, I want to have lemon drops, Casamigos lemon drops. So a lemon drop, like I said in the previous episode, is typically made with vodka. However, I did some experimenting and saw that I could do a lemon drop, but with tequila, and it tastes so good. So every time I go someplace, I order this. Oh, hold on. Now I know when I sipped this the last time, it was real dramatic. And why y'all didn't tell me I had sugar in the corner of my mouth? Y'all just let me go on the whole time. Nobody said, hey, bro, you got sugar in the corner of your mouth. Hold on. My God, it's so good. This is all I needed. Oh, hold on. Let me do one more. I'm going to sit it close to me because that lazy Susan back there is a little too far. So what's happened since last week? Well, this week has been pretty low key. Like I said, Al and I have been doing some, I would say, nesting. We're really, really excited for baby Cole Keys to be here. And we don't have anything to do but to like worry about the baby getting here. So I think we both started to like do certain things to kind of start prepping the baby room, all that stuff, all that jazz. You know, Alan went and got a light fixture, replaced the existing light fixture. I'm doing some DIY, doing some wallpapering and hanging up curtains and shit. It's so special. It's so special. So yeah, we've been, and then doing outdoor stuff. So I have some colleagues who are coming into town. Actually, my whole team is coming into town. So it's like 70 people traveling from all over the nation here because we're having a learning week. And so the learning week will be in sessions for much of the week. It's like our own personal team conference. It's exciting. I'm glad that they're coming to Atlanta, but there is an expectation that I'm supposed to know where everything is. I've had a couple colleagues reach out and was like, hey, can you tell me what the gay bars are? And I'm like, I don't really go out, y'all. But in the places that I could tell you, they probably are doing drugs right on the table. And I don't know if I really want to send you there because you're not going to go back and tell people that Samad done sent me to a drug crack house or something like that. So I'm still debating on where I want to send them. And also, there aren't many places for people of color to kind of hang out in Atlanta. I've said this a number of times. Unless you go like Blake's, but I say Blake's is naturally segregated. And as a result, the Black people stay upstairs and the white and Latino people stay downstairs. And so I don't really enjoy Blake's. You just sitting there looking at people drinking a drink. That's it. Then you got, the old 10th and Piedmont, or now Casa Almanada. And ain't nothing there to do. The vibe has been off since they tried to call themselves renovating and kicking the Black folks out. We haven't returned back. I guess Virgil's is a nice spot, but not during the week, like when you're trying to like kiki and see some cute people watch. So yeah, I don't know if there's any place I could really send them during the week because nobody's really out Tuesday through Thursday or Monday through Thursday just drinking like that. So we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm happy they're here. I'm hosting a happy hour at the house. So I had to get some stuff together for that. Had to get the front yard together, get my plants and stuff in order because stuff died over the winter when we had that big freeze. So I had an aunt who visited from Vegas. So I don't really talk much about my father's side of the family, my biological father's side of the family, because I don't really know much. But a couple of his sisters, I do, it's always the auntie. Shout out to the aunties. I love my aunties, but I don't really know many of them. It was 11 of them total. And so my biological father was like number 10 and his mom died maybe after he might have been like a year old or so. So I don't really know much about them. I don't really know much about, I know my aunts, but don't know them like my aunts, my aunties. There's a difference actually for me. So I have my aunties, which I only have two of those. And then I have aunts. And then you have the other aunts, right? And so my aunties, I'll actually call one of them, give her the description of the two. Aunties are my only two. I have Auntie Robin, Auntie Jackie. And then everybody else are aunts. But then you have the aunts that, you know, are really, really, I guess, they're your, now I want to say your favorite aunts, but they're levels to aunts. Okay. All right. But aunties are the closest. So, but no, she came in and visited. She just was on break. She works out in Vegas. She's in her, I don't know if she want me telling her age, but I don't think she's listening either. So well, we'll find out. She's in her mid to late 70s. And so it's just interesting to see, to learn more about her. And it's crazy that I'm 40 years old and I'm still learning about that side of the family. But she came out and visited. We talked. I don't want to say much because I actually want to talk about some of this in my, I guess, my personal session of this podcast. But yeah, so she came in and visited and we drove to Augusta. We have some family in Augusta that I know, but still don't know very well. Apparently, my grandmother's sister she lived there, or my grandmother actually grew up there and she later moved to Jersey. Don't know the story behind that. Just is so much I don't know, so much. But yeah, we went out and met some family at, you would not guess. Go ahead, guess. We went to the Ruby Tuesdays, y'all. And so we went to Ruby Tuesdays. I don't necessarily eat at Ruby Tuesdays, but it was, you know, we were in Augusta, or the Augusta area. So you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Those cheese sticks were good. And my little quesadilla, I didn't eat the quesadilla because it wasn't good, but the cheese sticks were bomb. The cheese sticks were bomb. So, but went out there. That's 2 hours from Atlanta. We drove 2 hours and went to Ruby Tuesdays. My God. Let me sip on that one. But yeah, we did that, came back. There was also some, I think a relative who passed. And so she came to town to go to the funeral. She did a whole tour of Atlanta, did like a 4-hour bus tour, loved it, said that she learned so much about it, went to the AUC, Sweet Auburn, Edgewood, you name it, all around Atlanta. So she had a good time. And you know, it's interesting. We take this for granted living in Atlanta, how Black it is. And, you know, I said I would like to only live in places that are predominantly Black. DC, love it, is Black. Harlem, Black. Chicago, Blacker. Houston, Black. I think I said this before. I feel like I think because I'm getting to LA and I'm like, I don't know. My friends tell me that it's not. If there's anybody in LA listening, let me know. Is there a conglomerate of Black folks? Do we have a strong delegate, like a delegation of Black folks in LA? Because when I go to Seattle, I don't really see us. And when I do see us, it's like people don't make eye contact and it's really weird. Something I'm learning about myself also is that as I'm getting older, I'm becoming that guy that like has to like speak and, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? And it's just random people. I guess this is I'm crossing over into my unk phase, y'all. This is so exciting. Like, damn, I'm going out of my unkin training and I'm just walking firmly and strongly into my unkness. Makes me shed a little tear. So yeah, but that's all that's happened since then. I'll be busy. We're going to Colombia in a few to go visit with the surrogate, but we're also going to just do some R&R and hang out in Cartagena and go to Bogota, visit the surrogate and get to know more of her. I talk to her like every other day. I didn't want to be annoying, but she seems receptive to it. And she, you know, when I don't respond every other day, she'll hit me up like, hey, what's going on? This is like at a rotation. Like you're not communicating like you normally do. So I appreciate her. I like her. She's cool. She does this little thing on her TikTok. I'm a little stalkerish because I just want to see what she's doing. But she does this little thing on her TikTok and where she plays this song and then she goes like this, like a baby shark. And then she goes, and then she goes like that. It's like her signature. You learn so much about people watching their TikToks. So much, so much. But no, that's kind of what's happened since the last show. Let me see. So there were a couple of things that I wanted to bring up just around what's happening in the world. There are observations that I made, not necessarily anything that's happened in my life, but I wanted to talk about it with y'all today because, I mean, we're friends and I want to talk to y'all while I sip my cocktail. What are y'all sipping, by the way? I know some of y'all listen to this or watch this while you're at work. I don't advise you to sip at work. I don't. That's irresponsible. And it's also signs you might have a problem because ain't no reason why you should be at work sipping unless it's a celebratory function and closer to 5. But a couple things that have been on my mind this week has been, one, I'm noticing that there have been more frequent commercials around people having body odors and needing deodorant for not just their armpits, but other parts of their body. And I think it's like this deodorant. I don't want to say the name. I don't know if I should I say the name? Loom. I think it's like Loom deodorant. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why are all these people talking about being funky? Like, is this becoming a widespread thing now? Do people need deodorant in their, like, I'm asking, I'm concerned that people are stinking more than they used to. And funky people are nothing new. They've been here. They gonna be here. They like roaches. There's always gonna be a funky person around. But if this is becoming widespread, then we need to have some conversations because if this is something that happens when you get older, y'all need to let me know that I need to start putting deodorant. Like, I don't really have a fold, but wherever there might be a fold, should I be putting like, and the lady was like, oh, I put it on the bottom of my feet. I put it behind my knees. I put it, and I'm like, what in the world? So you got funky knees? I really just want to know, is this like a thing? Is this a thing that's becoming a thing? Or is it something I should be expecting to, I guess, as I get older? I take pride in having a clean body. Even when I work from home, I get up and I take a shower. I go work out. I come and take a shower. I will take multiple showers if I have to. I just don't like, BO. And I had an aunt who was she's listening, so she knows I'm talking about her. I had an aunt who used to, like, especially when she was pregnant, she had a strong sense of smell. And so if I did anything, like if I walked to the store and came back, she would be like, you smell like outside. Or if I went outside and I played and I came back and she's like, So it's nothing I could do, but she would always smell me and it would make me like say, okay, I need to make sure I take a shower frequently, which I was taking a shower frequently just for the record. But I was just like, maybe after I come from outside, I need to take a shower, which I wasn't, as a teenager, I wasn't doing. Now I do it more. So like I have allergies. I need to get the outside off of me. But usually when I come from outside, I go ahead and take a shower. As a kid, you just like run and go eat, come in, sit down, all up in your musk. You don't even look, as you get older, you realize you can't be doing that. Just walking around sitting in your stankness. But I do want to know whether or not this body odor thing is becoming a thing because I'm seeing more and more of these commercials, which lets me know that people must be buying this stuff. And if people are buying this stuff, that means they stink. Should I be worried that more stink people are going to be around me? So this is actually related. Me and Alan were folding laundry, and I was like, what would have happened if when we first met each other, like we were folding each other's drawers and next thing you know, we see like this dark streak. And so we both started busting out laughing. And I was like, I would be like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I don't think that as soon as I see it, I'm like, is that a dookie stain? And he was like, you can't unsee it. You couldn't unsee it. It wouldn't. So would you date somebody if you were at their house and you saw a streak in their drawers? Like, what would you do? What would you do? And I've been in some interesting situations where I have seen something like that and I'll try to be polite about it. Now, it wouldn't be somebody I was dating, but it was like, I remember one time when I was in college, we went over to a friend's house and he got a little saucy and ended up getting too saucy and we went and put him to bed. But as we were putting him to bed, we saw his boxers laying on the ground, on the floor. in the bedroom, and it was like a streak dark as day. And I didn't know what to do, but I just said I didn't want him to feel embarrassed when he woke up the next morning to see this. You were like, oh, well, they saw my shitty drawers, right? And so I think I put a sheet or a towel or something over it. Like it was a dead body. I put a sheet or a towel over it and just, so he wouldn't wake up and be like, oh my God, they saw this. It did make me question whether or not we could be friends afterwards. And hey, if I have a friend and you have streaks, it's okay. It's all right. I don't date you. I'm not with you. I prefer my friends to be clean. If it's anybody I know and if I'm offending you at all, it's okay. You should learn how to wipe better, but it's okay. It's definitely okay. It's not okay. It's not. I was lying. I was really lying. So, but no, that was just talking about the body odor commercial and then thinking about me and Alan's conversation around what if you saw a dookie stain? What would you do if you were dating somebody and you saw that? I probably wouldn't date them anymore. I've had some really, really interesting, when I was out in the field dating situations. Maybe I'll tell y'all about some of them in future episodes because, yeah. Atlanta was no joke back in the day when I was on the market. So another thing I wanted to bring forward, and this is an observation from this week and this week alone, is that I feel like I'm experiencing it mostly from younger people. Like people, when I say younger people, I'm thinking like the generation behind me. There have been a number of instances where I've held the door because I was raised right. And a little girl or a little boy walked past me and they're like, they don't say anything. They don't say thank you. And just the other day, I was in, Flying Biscuit around the corner. And I'm standing there waiting to, we called in our order. So I'm standing there to get my food. And this young dude that looked gender neutral, he ended up like standing like right in front of me in my personal space, didn't say, excuse me, didn't say anything. And I was like, so Samad, what do you do in the situation? Cause I got a little testy and I was hungry too. So I was just like, what you're not going to do is move. I know that much. You're going to stand right there. And if he bump into you, you bump his ass right back. And, it sound like my mother. So, so he goes there and he stands right in front of me. And I'm just like, how does he not know he's in my personal space? Like you're really, really close to me right now. And I walked out of the door to get once I got my food. So food finally comes, fast forwarded a little bit. I walk out the door and I held the door for his little friend that was in their party. And two of them actually, none of them said thank you. And this has happened a couple of times when I've held a door. I'm about to start slamming a goddamn door in people's faces. I tell you that much, because it's rude. It's so, so rude. I know people who are from different spaces or different areas. Y'all operate differently. I remember when I moved to DC, and I guess because I lived in the South enough, I went to Morehouse, were, I guess, taught to be chivalrous. And as a result of that, when I open the door, I'll give up my seat if I see a woman standing, those sorts of things. And when I got to DC, women were a little bit more liberated, I guess. And so I remember like trying to give up my seat to this woman on the metro. And she was like, I don't need your seat. And I was like, oh, okay, my bad. I just thought maybe you wanted to sit down. So she got real ignorant with me. And I was just like, all right, from that point on, I'm just going to sit my ass in these seats and look out the window and not say a word. Then I would open the door for people and the woman would be like, no, I'm like, I didn't need you to hold the door for me. Like that. Somebody actually said that to me. So I kind of just backed down. I was like, okay, in DC, this is not a thing. Like I'll do it, but I don't, but then I have friends in DC who are like, very much like my girly girlfriends who are like, oh, they expect you to kind of hold the door or open the door for them. Like chivalry is expected. I think it's generational. And so I want to ask a favor. If you have some kids that are, let's say, if they're teenagers, please teach them to say thank you when somebody holds the door for them. Because I didn't have to. I could have just let it slam in your face. Like I could have done that. I think as you get older, it gets a little harder to teach, but I would say definitely like by 21, we shouldn't be teaching kids to say thank you for, gestures or acts of kindness that random people do for them, it's like they expected it. Like now I really want to go back and slam the damn door in that girl face, but I'm not going to do that because I take ashwagandha and it helps me make sure that my nerves stay calm. And so I'm going to go back into my happy space. But what I will guarantee you is that if it happens again, I will probably just let the door shut in somebody's face. It's rude. It's so rude. So rude. All right. So switching gears. Now we get into the deep conversations. So as I mentioned earlier, I have my aunt who came into town, my father's sister, biological father's sister. So one thing I struggle with, and I think about it even because we are going through this surrogacy journey, is I've grown up with this like unknowingness about me. And I've been on like this really long journey to understand who I am and where I came from. And I think a couple of things have triggered me over the last week. One was, my friends and family are insistent upon me having a shower or us having a shower. And so they want to throw us a shower. And I was reluctant to do it. And I think part of the reason why was because I realized that I don't really have strong relationships to my blood family. And like, who am I calling from my mother's side? My brothers? My brothers, one would probably go ahead and get my baby a gift or get our baby a gift. I need to stop saying my, it's our. It is both of ours. But one of them would. The other one might ask me to get a gift and he'll give me the money for it. I'll never get the money for it, so I would just buy a gift for our baby. But I don't really have anybody on my mother's side. One of the things that I did for rightful reasons. And if you go back to last season, you'll learn a little bit about her experience. But because of how they treated us and exiled us, when my grandmother died of AIDS back in the 80s, my mother was like, I'm not fucking with y'all. And so there are few people on her side that I know. I don't know them. I have a lot of cousins, I'm sure. I just don't know who any of these people are. I don't know them. I've never sat down and had dinner with them. And so that's a void. And then I was reminded when my aunt came into town that I don't really know my biological father's side of the family. And that then started to take me down this staircase of just thoughts about how, I've always been trying to understand myself. Like, I know I look like my mother. I can see my features in her, especially when I'm tired. I can see it all in my eye. It's like, so this part, this nose to eye area definitely gives you my mom. It's funny because my baby brother and actually all of us, we look like our mother in different ways. So that's crazy to me. Like, we look different, but we look the same. So if you see a picture of us, maybe I'll post one. I don't really have one of us recently. I guess the most recent was the one from the funeral, but I just always wanted to know, what traits did I pick up from my parents? What traits did I pick up of my mother's? I can't even say that. So it just makes me uneasy, right? To think that I actually said this to my aunt as we were driving 2 hours to go to Ruby Tuesdays. But I was saying to her, yeah, I don't know nothing about that man. I don't know nothing about him. I don't know. I can't even tell you, I don't know if he was funny. Don't know if he was smart. Didn't know if he graduated from high school. I guess I could tell you how tall he was, but I can't tell you, do I have certain physical features of him? Are my calves from my father's side, right? Are my flat feet from my father? I don't know, right? I have a little arch on one, but the other one, just go ahead and call it flat as a pancake. But no, it just bothers me. And for a long time, I kind of went... So for those who don't know, my mother was dating this dude. Last name was McEachin. And when I was born, he knew he wasn't my father, but said he wanted to raise me because him and my mother were in love. And so because of that, they ended up splitting up. And now I got this dude's last name. I was told my mother always told me that wasn't my father. She told me who my father was, but at the time, back in the day, men were running from child support. And so Butch was running from child support, and I could never get proof. Like, I guess I wanted a DNA test. I never got that test. What's interesting is that I shared with my aunt that when my father was dying, he knew he was dying, and I guess he knew his days were limited on this earth. And I was in grad school, and he called me. And I think it was just a random Jersey number. So I always pick up a Jersey number because I don't know, it might be something happened and I need to pick up the phone. He called me. He was very apologetic about, I guess, how he treated me or didn't treat me over the course of my life. At that point, I had to be probably in my late 20s because I got my PhD at 29. So I had to be like somewhere between 25 and 29. And my response was, hey, you got other children. You should go ahead and try to mend your relationship with them because I think that they probably need this more than I do, which I was being honest. That was a very honest response. And I was told by someone that I should have been a little nicer, but it was an honest response. And I couldn't, I wasn't going to lie. So I just was like, you have other children who might need this more than I do. So while this might make you feel good in the moment, I think I said I had to, this feels good in the moment. I realize that this, won't cure years, right? 27 years, 28 years of me not having a relationship with him. And so I was like, it made him feel better, but I was like, I don't know if I was getting anything out of it or anything that I wanted out of it. So that was it. He passed away a couple months later while I was living in DC. No, it must have been a year or so later while I was living in DC. So I went up there. I actually met my older brother. I re-met him because I met him once before when I was like a teenager, 16 or so. Re-met my younger sister. And then I had a younger brother named Justin. And so I met all of them. Don't know anything about them. And I remember at the funeral, I said to myself, like, I think I did like a corner tear because it wasn't a full tear. But I think the tear came from me thinking in my head that the opportunity to ever have a relationship with this dude is now dead because he's dead. And so I think in that moment, I probably too was thinking like, I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything. And it just is crazy to live life with that void. And like I said, I think about it maybe more now because of the fact that we're going through the process with a surrogate. And so at some point in time, I'm going to have to tell our baby who their mother is, or the question is going to come up. And I'm still working on my answer. I'm going to be honest and truthful, but I'm still working on my answer. And I do wonder whether or not our child will go through this same cycle that I go through every so often, where I'm trying to figure out or understand who I am. And I think I have that. And I also deal with this sense of, like, I feel like I need to be cautious, right? When I talk about these sorts of things, because I was raised by a phenomenal family. The Keys family was phenomenal, right? Like, I still say any people who take in a cute ass baby and raise them well, like, hats off, kudos to you. I had a father figure. I had Rodney. That was my father figure, but I also had my uncles. And so and cousins, like, that's the only family I knew. So it's just so crazy. Like, you think about family, and blood does not mean anything. Because at the end of the day, you can tell me that you can't tell me I'm not a Keys, and you can't tell me they not one of me. And so I'm always cautious about that, because I do wonder, like, I wonder, I never asked, but I have wondered, like, when they see me searching for something, how does that make them feel sometime? And I don't know. I think my grandmother would say it's natural for me to want to know where I came from. And that's really what it is. I'm not looking for love from any particular being or any particular aunt or uncle from my blood relatives side, right? Or cousins. Because I realize I have all of that. Like, I've had it. Yeah, it's always been there. And like, the cousins I have through the Keys those are my cousins. Like, I have no hell. My cousin Raven is like my sister. yeah, that's how we grew up. So I don't know. It's always, I'd go through these moments in life where I do, like, I just want to know. I go on to 23andMe. I have an account there. So that way I could, understand my genealogical makeup, right? I do ancestry when I get that urge to want to do research and learn about, my people. But I realize I hit walls because I don't know a lot. And those people, I don't talk to those people. I actually met a cousin in San Diego off of 23andMe that related to my great grandmother on my mother's side. I know nothing about those people. Like the people who were alive, I still don't know nothing about them because nobody was talking about a damn thing. So it's just crazy to me that you can live life just so aloof, so lost, so disconnected, but connected at the same time, because I do have it. It just may not have it. It may not be a blood relation, but you couldn't tell me when I was a kid. Like, so no lie. And he gonna hear this. So I'm sure I'll get a phone call. When I was a kid, I thought that I was Rodney's son because I don't know if they were doing it on purpose, but they were like, we would be dressed the same. We both would look the same. Both look like little teddy bears, right? Both had little short fades. So it just, for the life of me, I thought that this was okay. Yeah, this is my dad. And for all intents and purposes, he is. But I thought that growing up. And then somebody was like, oh, no, Rodney's not your dad. No, Butch is your dad. And I was like, oh, well, who is this? Who's this Butch guy? Because this is who I knew all the time. Like he would have a fade with a part. I would have my fade with the part. I still wear the part and the fade. So here we are. But it's interesting to me. And I'm sure this feeling will wane and then it'll return at some point again. I'm sure when the baby gets here, I will feel the same way. I was asking Alan because he has a similar situation, not really, but similar in the sense that he didn't know his dad growing up. So his dad died when he was like 9 months old. And so I was like, do you go through that? But I guess not, because he still had, he knew his mother's side of the family. He knew the extended family. I knew the family who adopted me and took me in. But I still want to know more about the other side. But then you also say to yourself, do you really want to, do you want to know? Because when you start asking questions, then you got cousins and shit coming out the woodwork. Hey, cuz. Hey, so I have this idea I want to talk to you about. I know. Yeah, you work. You work with Bill. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I don't want to deal with all that. I don't want to deal with, I'm bougie. I get it. And I don't want to have to retrain new cousins to understand that Samad don't do shit like this. The cousins I have know, and they will call me bougie to my face. And I will, Bougiana. Yep, that's me. So it's just interesting to really, I think we're always on this journey of self-discovery. Right. And I don't think that I'll ever stop trying to understand who I am, because I want to be able to communicate who I am to my child. And I want them to know where they came from. But what they will know is that they have an awesome family called the Keys family. And so shout out to my Keys family. I really do love them. I'm not going to get emotional. Let me take a sip just in case. So, but that's kind of what's been on my mind this week. It was triggered mostly just by my aunt coming in, her telling me what she could tell me about my biological father. But also she left when she was like 17, 18. And so she hasn't been in Jersey for a while. So she can't really tell you. There's a gap for her, I guess, for the last 40 years at least. Right. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this unfolds. But I'm happy. I realize I have an awesome life, and I remind myself of that often. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and get off of that subject now. And we'll get back if anybody wants to talk about it some more. I wanted to go ahead and just take this time once again to thank you all for continuing to continuing to follow, continuing to subscribe, and continuing to support. I love the way that this is unfolding. I love the fact that I get a chance to come together with you every week and have a conversation, and you talk back. So what more can I ask for? Thank you to the new followers on YouTube. Always appreciate you. Continue to, chime in. I'm going to continue to try to figure out more things that I can do to, spice it up a little bit, give you some variety. And we're also approaching the end of season 2. But we'll be back. We're going to take a little break at some point. This is not it. I don't want to scare anybody. I'm giving you a heads up that it is coming after episode 12, possibly. That's what I said. But we'll come back and we'll be better and greater. And I'm going to do some things in between as well. So you'll see me. But I really enjoyed this. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having a cocktail with me. And we'll talk next week. Until then, y'all, I'm out.